can't seem to find anything in John 3:16 about baptism. Greetings, Paul Mays with you. I'm a Christian. I became a Christian when I obeyed the actual gospel of Jesus Christ, and the Lord himself added me to the one church that he founded, Acts 2:47. Now his church is pre-denominational. No denominations existed when Christ founded his church. There are those of you who are earnestly contending for the faith once delivered for all. You are contending for the actual gospel of Jesus Christ, defending that gospel, and you are loved and appreciated for that. Thank you. There are a group of people, those who are lost in man-made churches, denominations, divisions from Christ, and they reject what baptism does for us. There are a slew of rejections, and I'm just going to cover one of them today. It's very common, and it's very easy to combat. And I would like to offer you this way that you can defend the truth and quickly dispel this myth that you can be saved without baptism, without immersion in water by the authority of Jesus Christ, Acts 2:38. One of their objections, they will turn to a passage that contains something to do with the gospel, one of the things that we must do. And then they will see that it doesn't have anything about baptism in it, and then they will in turn say that because of this, then baptism has nothing to do with salvation. And that's sad because, I mean, Jesus on his way out, he said, go preach the gospel. The gospel. That's a command. And then a promise followed. He that believes and is baptized will be saved. Those are related. Matthew 28:19, Jesus on his way out. Go make disciples by baptizing everybody. So you're not a disciple until you're baptized. Despite the fact that Jesus promised that he that believes and is baptized will be saved in Mark 16:16, despite the fact that Jesus commanded that we observe all things that he's commanded us, Matthew 28:18 through 20, people still reject what baptism does. So they turn to a passage like John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes on him should not perish but have everlasting life. And they will say, well, I can't find baptism in there, therefore. So this is quick and easy. I can't find the blood of Christ in that passage either. Does that mean the blood of Christ is not essential? So that's where that line of reasoning ends up. So you can see that that's just entirely illogical. We don't look to the Bible as a buffet. We don't get to pick and choose. We don't say, oh, well, this verse says this. They'll turn to Romans 10:9 and say, oh, with a mouth you confess that Jesus is Lord and believe that God has raised Jesus from the dead and you'll be saved. And that's all there is to it. Really? Because I can't find grace in that passage. Does the grace of God not come into play? Well, of course, grace is essential. We're saved by grace. Ephesians 2:8-9 reveals that, by grace we're saved. So has God set something in front of us, some prerequisites that we must meet? Yes. Even the people that reject baptism will agree to that. We've got to confess. Well, that's a work, isn't it? It's a work unto righteousness. It's not a work, a meritorious work. So baptism is the working of God. Colossians 2:12 reveals that baptism is actually the working of God himself. So we can't be saved without being worked on. So use this, use this line of reasoning. Oh, so I can't find the blood of Christ in John 3:16. Does that mean that the blood's not essential? And it will, it'll make them stop, hopefully pause, and at least consider the evidence. Now, we don't always see the results of this right away. People do not want to admit that they have been deceived. That's a very hard thing to admit. But if you drop that drop of truth right in there, it might take a while, but that little nugget of truth, it will probably eat at them. Maybe baptism is essential. Well, indeed it is. So for you who are contending, thank you. I love you. I love your stand for the truth. Thank you. Keep pushing. Keep working for God. We don't know when Judgment Day is going to come, and when we will face God, and we will have to give an account for every idle word, for all the things we've done while we were hanging out in this physical temporary body. You know, you're a spirit. You're hanging out in that physical body for now, but we're going to have to give an account pretty soon. Who knows when? Could be a million years. Could be before you finish watching this video. Keep pushing. Keep trying. Now, if somebody's out there and says, oh, this isn't right, baptism is just an outward display of an inward change. Hey, I loved you enough to make this video that corrects the error that the baptism is not an essential part of salvation. So why don't you love me enough to present the scriptural truth that would correct me if I'm wrong? Please love me enough to show me that I'm wrong using the authority of Scripture. No man-made creeds, no manuals, man-made manuals, no creeds. The authority of Scripture will be the only thing that could possibly sway me away from believing that baptism is how we get into Christ, Galatians 3:27. It is for the remission of sins, Acts 2:38. It now saves you, 1 Peter 3:20 and 3:21, if you want to know more about that. If you think this is truth, share it. You know, put it out there. Help others defend the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm Paul Mays. Thanks for listening.